Welcome, everybody. Monday night. My name's Kate. I am a director with LifeWave. I'm a part of the quantum healing team, and I'm so glad you're here to join us. This topic is near and dear to my heart, and I learned a lot while I was looking this stuff up. In fact, I have new patches that I will be using on my children from the information that I've collected to share with you guys. So I'm really excited about it. So let me share my screen and get started. We're going to go through the beginning part so people get up to speed, those that might not know about the technology, okay? Here we are, learn to patch. So what's the problem? Well, for us, not the kids, our problem is that we age. And then when you hit your 30s, you're not the same as you were in your 20s and 40s. Those wheels fall off the bus and so on and so forth as we age. And by the time you get to 60, there's only a small percentage of the stem cells in your body still working. So the solution already lives within our bodies. And those are stem cells. They serve as the body's repair system. The stem cells are capable of renewing themselves, and they can become any cell that your body needs. Right now, the current solutions that we have, one of them are injections, and they're expensive and risky. And they're also controversial. It depends on where those stem cells are coming from. So since stem cells age like we do, I really do have to question how good those stem cells are that you're getting drawn, centrifuged, and put back in. Just makes me wonder. So imagine standing outside on a sunny day, and that warmth you feel on your skin isn't just heat. It's the sun's light triggering your body to produce vitamin D. And this natural process happens without anything entering your body. No pills, no injections, just your body responding to light. And this technology I'm about to show you works in a very similar way. The light we give off activates the patch lattice structure with a very specific wavelength of light sent back to the body. So in essence, just like the sun signals our body to make vitamin D, this technology signals our body to activate its natural healing process, non-invasively, without chemicals or substances entering the body. And this cutting-edge science is rooted in the simplicity of how nature works. So what is this technology? It's X39. It's a company called LifeWave. The patented technology, it's a wearable phototherapy device, apparatus, it's a patch that you put on your body that is proven through this patent to activate stem cells in your body. So let's watch just a little 1-minute video on how this works.
Here's how the technology works. First, a patch is applied to specific points on the body. Where the patch covers the skin, infrared light emitted from the body is reflected back into the tissue. This stimulates the skin, which in turn stimulates specific regions of the brain. The brain then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy and the ability to heal itself. Let's take a look at why this is important on a cellular level. For example, a number of our patch products help counteract free radicals, oxygen molecules that damage cell proteins and contribute to visible signs of aging. When the body is stimulated through phototherapy to release its own antioxidants, these free radicals are neutralized naturally.
So who came up with this technology? None other than David Schmidt. This man is a genius. He's a scientist, he's a researcher. He's wanted to be a scientist since he was a child. And there is a documentary coming out very soon about him, done by, I think it's Micah Willis. So that's going to be coming out soon. So you get to learn all about David. But he has over 200 patents now, patents and patents pending, over 100 clinical studies, and he's really focused the last 10 years specifically on stem cell research and the technology for age reversal. So X39 is our flagship product. It is the umbrella product that really covers a lot. So you can increase your energy, better sleep, less pain, increase sports performance. You can reduce the stress in your body, expedite wound healing, and when worn long enough, because you do have to give your body a little grace and time with these, that there is an age reversal component, including skin remodeling and scar reversal as a part of using this technology. So, tonight we're going to talk about autism, ADHD, sensory processing disorders. I don't want to talk in terms of diseases. Before we dive in, I want to remind everybody that LifeWave patches are not FDA approved to diagnose or treat or cure any disease. That includes autism and ADHD. While many parents have chosen to use patches on their children, LifeWave has not formally studied the patch use for children. Tonight, I'm going to show you real world experiences that I've learned from other families. I've learned very anecdotally about how these patches are helping to support our children that are struggling with symptoms. So let's talk. What are these symptoms? So we're going to break these symptoms down into three categories tonight. And so we're going to, frame these as, really the why behind we're doing this. So we're going to look at these. Neurological is the first, neurological nervous system dysregulation. So that's like sensory processing, repetitive behaviors, stimming, communication challenges, and low energy and fatigue. And then we're going to look at an emotional dysregulation component. And that's going to be more of the emotional outbursts and meltdowns that you have, the transitions, poor focus, and impulsivity. The last one's going to be asleep, right? So it's like sleep, detox, and immune. And we kind of put those together because it's a lot to do with our body, the overwhelm of our body with substances and our gut. So we're going to talk about sleep disturbances, immune and detoxification imbalances in the body. So those are our three main categories. So let's start with the brain. Okay, let's start with the brain and the nervous system. So the symptoms of dysregulation in children with this brain nervous system is the hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity to sound, light, touch, texture, taste, easily overstimulated in large crowds. They often avoid, or maybe they're seekers and they seek out that sensory input. Difficulty transitioning between activities. That was a big one for us in our household. Difficulty calming down after being upset, communication delays. And that the communication delays is a very big, broad topic that's very general, but that could look like speech delays, limited verbal communication, just difficulty with expressive and receptive languages. Also, like a repetitive language, saying the same thing. Once they hear something, kids tend to repeat what they hear, but it's almost like a loop. And it's like a record playing in their head and they just can't break from it. So they keep doing it and trying to snap them out of that. Fatigue. So we're talking there with fatigue, we're talking about poor mitochondria function, which is suspected in many ASD cases. So let's talk about how we can support our brain and nervous system. Our goal in this is to calm the nervous system, balance that brain signaling so that it calms down, support the mitochondria so we have the proper energy for our cells, and improve that expressive language. So to do that, and this is going to be based on your child. Eon is a great one because it's going to help calm that nervous system. It's going to calm that fight or flight response that not only kids, but many adults live in as well. X39 to boost repair and support the mitochondria. Alavita for skin, mood, and the pineal gland. I spelled it wrong. That was one I didn't think of. Now, I'm going to be trying that here in the near future for my son. Carnosine. Definitely one I've used. Keeps the brain calm, sharp, and protected. Carnosine is, again, that sleeper patch that people don't often think about. So now let's talk about the emotional dysregulation part of it. So this is those big emotions, right? Not only do kids have big emotions as they grow up, but there's a whole neurological component behind that, right? So those intense motions, the difficulty transitioning between activities, sudden outbursts or shutdowns, difficulty calming down after being upset, right? Trying to flip the switch from that is a really hard thing for kids to do. Jumping from one task to another quickly, talking excessively, or interrupting with that impulsivity control, often making careless mistakes because of the inattention. Here we talk, how do we support that emotional? So we're going to help regulate mood. We want to increase focus. We want to help support the dopamine and the serotonin pathways in the body naturally and increase that attention and focus. Again, we come back to Eon. That's great for emotional regulation, which is connected to our nervous system regulation, which Eon helps to calm our nervous system. So the X39, again, in this aspect, the X39 would be great for mental clarity and the repair. SP6, this was the one I really wasn't expecting while I was doing the research, right? The craving control, and because it supports dopamine. And the fascinating thing that I didn't realize, cravings, especially for sugar or processed foods or even stimulation, are often driven by that dopamine imbalance because dopamine is that reward transmitter in your body. And when it's low or dysregulated, the brain craves quick hits, like sugar, screen time, just the quick, quick, quick. Anecdotally, through LifeWave materials, SB6 can be said to support that hormonal and that neuroendocrine balance, indirectly impact that dopamine signaling pathway and that impulse control, that reward center of the brain. So parents often report their kids are calmer, they have less cravings. And in the patch community, some of the parents have shared that SP6 helps the kids with the sugar craving and that constant impulsivity control. So this is the patch. I had no idea. I'm going to be using this patch. I'm so glad I did this research because I'm going to be adding this patch in for my kids. I think it's going to be a game changer, especially with that dopamine. Again, carnosine, assisting with that neurological repair and protection. And then the last one, we have the sleep detox immune imbalance. Symptoms of this dysregulation are trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up multiple times a night, the sleep cycles are off, a frequent illness, food insensitivities, eczema, and challenges just clearing environmental toxins from our body. Maybe those energetic pathways are blocked. So to support that sleep detox and gut, we want to look at improving sleep cycles, supporting the immune modulation, making sure that those pathways are open to get the toxins out of our body naturally, the way they're intended to get out of our body, and enhance that detoxification process. So silent nights at night for that natural melatonin and to help those sleep rhythms. Glutathione for natural detox, not worn at night, worn during the day. X39 from repair and supporting the mitochondria. And then Eon, again, to support and calm the nervous system for better sleep. So, people might ask, why would you consider patching kids? Well, the alternatives can be dangerous. There are medications out on the market, and I just, years ago, I was in the medical freedom movement long before COVID. And there was a bill going through our legislation here in New Jersey. And what it was is it wanted parents to have to sign a form saying that the doctor told them the medication that they're starting on their child on has a black box warning and they understand that black box warning. And the reason that this finally came to the state was because it was an SSRI, it was an antidepressant, and the black box warning was a suicide warning. And so they wanted parents to really know before the doctors just start writing scripts, what is going on? You have to pay attention to your children. And so for me personally, I'm going to do everything I can to try not to do these things because we have tried them. I'm not gonna lie, we've tried these and we have not had good luck. We are back to the holistic and natural way of doing things because I'm not gonna risk the black box warnings. We'll just leave it at that. So how do you start with kids? As long as they can relay how they're feeling to you, as long as they communicate to you, whether that's verbal or nonverbal. Nonverbal can be sign language. So as long as the kids can communicate to you how they're feeling, what they're feeling, then you can patch them. So start slow, 1 to 2 hours. When I first started with my kids, I would take my patch off me that I wore during the day, and I would put it on them while they slept. That's one way to do it, to just kind of introduce it while they're sleeping in a slower fashion. You can take yours off and put it on them for whatever duration that you want. You can patch over clothing. So if some kids are sensitive and will not put a patch on. There is one child that I know of that was patching and she hated Band-Aids. It was in her IEP, it was in her goals was to work on the sensitivity and work through that because she wouldn't wear Band-Aids, and it got to the point where she was asking for the patches. She had overcome that, and she was now asking for the patches because she felt the difference from those patches. So they can wear it over clothing to begin if they're sensitive, and make sure that they're hydrated. They need to hydrate and they need to sleep. Track changes on paper. That's the best way to do it. You can try to remember these things, but oftentimes as it happens in our houses, once things get going, you kind of start going with a status quo and then you forget. And then things come off the bus and you can't remember why they did because maybe you stopped doing something that you were doing. So definitely tracking things is I can't recommend it enough. So if you have any questions specifically about your kids or supporting and patching children, I want to support you in whatever way I can. I don't care whose team you're on. If you have a question about patching kids, I do it in my house. I have two little boys. I want to be able to support you. So feel free to email me anytime. Go back to the person who sent you here and tell them that you need these patches. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Hi, everybody. Hi, Linda.
Hey, I have to tell you
Yes.
that your presentation really can also address the same symptoms in adults.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have someone who I met at the last expo I was at, and she came to my talk, and I patched her with an Eon, and within minutes, she was telling me how much better she felt, and her friend said she's different. Well, she's signed up and she's having some brain imbalancing right now. So I recommended the carnosine to her. But I'm just thinking that as you were going through all those symptoms and everything, there's so many adults that have these symptoms and they really need to hear this message that it's not, it's great for kids because if you can obviously get those kids off those medications early on, that's
Mhm.
a good thing. But so many adults are suffering with these same symptoms and are struggling. And that just immediately came to my mind was like, oh my gosh, you need to address this with the adult as well, because I think you'll get a lot of adults that might go, I want to hear this because I've been, really struggling with this. So let me know because I would love to send her to that presentation because she would really appreciate the information. I was amazed at what you found out too. I thought, well, that makes sense. Why not use that patch with kids for that reason?
Right.
I thought that was really great that you did all that research because, there are so many things that these patches can do that we just kind of look at the surface and we forget that there's a lot of other things that they can address. So
Mhm.
thanks for doing all of that. It was really interesting. You did a super job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really wanted to come hear this because I think it's a really powerful message. I mean, I shared it with so many people. I'm surprised you don't have more people here tonight. I really am. So really surprised because it's such a hot topic.
It is, yeah.
But,
It's
it
all right.
is.
There's a replay. I'll send a replay out. You can send it to your people
But
that are
there's other things
calling.
to patch kids for too. My granddaughter got stung by a bee and her
Mhm.
whole side of her face was swollen. And I happened to have patches with me, and I said, "Would you let me patch you?" And I asked her mom, and her mom said, "Yeah." And I put an A on. I said, "Are you okay with me putting it right here?" She goes, "Oh yeah." And I just put it right there. And I checked on her the next day, and the swelling was completely gone.
Yeah.
So she went to school and she wasn't embarrassed. So I think there's reasons to people can learn that it's not just for the adults. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to give my email to people because, even if, say, someone couldn't be here to ask their question tonight, I want them to be able to reach out to me
They
because
might, yeah.
I have experience in this. I have two kids. I patch them all the time.
Well, there
So,
might be an embarrassment thing too,
right. Oh,
or
yeah.
it's
Well,
personal. I don't want that out there. Yeah. So
yeah, there's a lot. There's a
yeah.
lot.
Anyway, I wanted to tell you did a really nice job. You always do. I mean, you always do a really good job with your presentations. I love your slides. I think they're brilliant with your little patch on them, and
Thank you.
they're just, it's very, very nice presentation.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Need support? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here. And we will see you next week at 7 o'clock.
All right.
Yep. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.